Greetings, R. Frederick Riddle here with another Christian news and views. This is episode 91. I want to show you the heading in the paper. So, right there, Oval Office outrage on everybody's mind these days right now. And I'm going to focus on this meeting and the fallout from it. So I'm entitling this the explosive meeting. So what I want to do here is the meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky was, by all accounts, a disaster. Zelensky made the mistake of lecturing President Trump in the Oval Office. Whether what he said was correct or not doesn't matter. He did it in the president's office, the Oval Office. President Trump made the mistake of thinking he had all the facts. It's one thing on the campaign trail, it's one thing in domestic agreements and debates and things of this nature, but we're talking about nations here, and I don't think that he does have all the facts. I think he's been fed some bad facts, in fact. Didn't mean to play the word there. But right now we won't look at that, but a disagreement ensued, and the rare minerals agreement was not signed. There has been some interesting comments about this meeting, most of which seem to make matters worse. So let's get on with my opinion. This is not about one man's failure. There is enough to go around, enough blame to go around. But let me make one thing clear. I still have confidence in President Trump. The information he was fed that Europe has been paid back or was going to be paid doesn't fit with what I've been reading. As one said, actually one of the European leaders said this, it was gifted. The money was gifted. And so there's not going to be a case of being paid back. You don't pay back gifts. In other words, European countries gifted Ukraine and don't expect to be paid back. In fact, the latest I am hearing is that they plan to up it, to do more than what they're doing. Now, so let's take this and look at the individuals. First, we'll start out with Zelensky. So I don't care how bombastic, and one term that's been used, President Trump was, nor how badly this war has impacted Ukraine. Zelensky should have kept his cool. He's representing a country, and he can't afford to have a thin skin. President Trump plays hard. He plays to win. And sometimes that means that he's going to do things that, or say things that a thin-skinned person doesn't like, and they'll fold. He can't be thin-skinned. The United States gave the weapons and additional material to the Ukraine. I never, in the previous 4 years of the Biden administration, I've never once heard that they were ever talking about a future payback or somehow being paid back or that. As for thank yous, seems to me I've heard some, but they may not have gone through political channels. But we're getting almost playground theatrics here. These are grown men, entrusted not only by their nation, but you could say by all of Europe, because although the United States, I believe, is still the most powerful nation in the world. It's not as powerful as it was 4 years ago. Biden saw to that. But we're still the most powerful. That said, Europe is rising. And I give Trump credit for that. in his first administration, he forced them to step up, and they've been stepping up ever since. And when faced with the threat of Russia, who has broken agreement after agreement after agreement, uh, they they don't want to see Russia come through Ukraine. It's almost like the old domino theory of Asia. Never got the chance to see if that worked or not because we got in a war and eventually, well, I guess you could say we lost it. Not because we lost in battle, but politically we lost it. Excuse me. So that is something that we have some misinformation going around, and it's uh, President Trump is a man who will speak his mind. He's going to say what he wants to say. He's going to get his opinion out there. And like I said, he plays rough. And so you got to play the field with him. But to go into the Oval Office and do that is probably not a good strategy to follow. So, but I think Zelensky had a reason for being upset. Even so, he should have kept his mouth shut. The Bible teaches us that a soft answer is that's the way to go. That is a far better thing than saying something hard and hurting somebody's feelings, which it did in this case. Um, so, and again, the vice president made the comment that Zelensky never once, or any of his leaders ever once thanked America. I don't know the accuracy of that statement or not, and I haven't looked it up, so I'm going to just assume it's true. But even so, I don't know why Vance threw that in there, because all it did was stir the fire, and just made it all the worse. And so, like I said, there's plenty to go around. President Trump, as president, he is doing more than just representing himself or the party, the Republican Party. He represents all of the United States. One citizen, a Ukrainian American, called him a bully. And to be honest, that is what it has sounded like. And again, Zelensky was wrong for doing it in the office there. But the response of both President Trump and Vance was to almost act like playground bullies. And that might be part of their strategy. I don't I don't believe that Trump ever lost control of this meeting. I'll try to bring that out a little bit more as I go along here. So there are added to this was what I would call incorrect facts. I mentioned this earlier. Trump said that Europe did much less than the United States. Well, it's how you might examine it. People have told me, well, the United States paid more and did more. Well, first of all, very little of it was in the form of cash. As I understand it, most of it came in the way of weapons. And I've talked about this before. These were not current weapons that we have and were taken off the field. These were weapons that we had set aside. Weapons that were there and mothball in the Navy, which is what used to be, we called it mothballing them. They were kept ready so that they could be out of storage and be used. And I believe that's what most of our weapons have been. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. And so we've done a lot. There's no doubt about it. But we are a far bigger country than any of the European countries. So the only way you can compare it is us with the European Union and plus Great Britain or the United Kingdom. So I think that that may be true about America doing more, but you got to take into consideration size, not only geographical but economical as well. So I'm not sure how accurate that information was, but I do believe there are people who feed information into Trump, and probably into Vance as well, that may not be absolutely accurate. And that's something they're going to have to watch. So that when they're on that political stage, they can say things and know they can back it up. So I think that's an unfortunate statement, at the very least. When responding to Zelensky about Putin not breaking any agreements with him, that is with Trump. The Putin hasn't broken any agreements with Trump, and that's what he said. He hasn't broken any agreements with me, is what Trump said, and I have no reason to believe that it's anything but the truth. The thing is this: there's a big difference between Putin dealing with Trump the man and with Trump the president. Big difference. And so, also, there's one other thing I want to bring out here. So, while the statement is undoubtedly true, it has no bearing. We are talking about the possibility of another worse war breaking out in the future. If I was Zelensky or any other European leader, I wouldn't put much stock in such assurances. In less than 4 years, President Trump will no longer be president. After that, all bets are off. We don't know if another Republican of Trump's stamp is going to be, politics being what it is, it can change overnight. I just remind you that in 2020, the Republican Party was in disarray. They had lost the election and had reason to believe it was stolen. And so they were in disarray. They couldn't get their minds off of it for a while there, and it just did not look good for the Republican Party. Today, they control the presidency, the House, and the Senate, and not their party, but the conservative element controls the Supreme Court. So that was 4 years. To you and me, 4 years may be a long time, but in government and politics, that is fast. And it could happen again, but on the other side. So they have no reason to put their confidence in Trump on this. He's going to have to back it up with more than just, well, they've not broken an agreement with me. Because he's in 4 years, he's not going to be here. And the agreement that Putin broke in when he attacked Ukraine, that was years old. Maybe, I think it was over a decade old. And he broke it. He breaks things when he thinks it's convenient for him to break them. And so any agreement with Russia, Ukraine, or any other country should have, or say like Israel, should always be verifiable by both sides. That's the nature of an agreement. And it's that nature that I believe that Trump understands. Later in the day, or at least in a week, European leaders commented on this and said the aid they gave was gifted. It is also has not been paid back because they didn't ask for it to be paid back. It's been gifted. So let's look at Europe for a moment. There is a divided opinion on this, but from what I see, the only ones siding with Trump are those countries with close ties to Russia. Go figure. Russia is just enjoying this. They like to see division amongst the allies. I think that NATO will step up even more than before. And catch this, I give all the credit in the world to President Trump for that being a fact of life. Back when he was president the first time, he forced them to up the ante, to up their contributions to NATO, to step up, take a greater responsibility. And they did. And even though Biden came into office and for 4 years misruled, the NATO countries drew closer together. It's very easy. Because Biden didn't have a strong hand and was able to influence them, they went their own route, which meant that didn't necessarily mean they were always in agreement with the United States. So I think that they did step up, and I give President Trump credit for all that. And with the Asian theater seeing a rising China and an insane leader of North Korea, the United States is shifting its attention to that area of the world, which looks like that's the right thing to do. So does this mean that the deal is dead? I don't believe so. Whether that confrontation was planned or not, whether they're were hurt feelings or not, I still think that President Trump has a plan. It is possible, catch this, folks, it is possible he is testing the waters to see what will and will not work. For Ukraine's sake, I hope the two leaders can find common ground. As for Zelensky playing with World War III, that was an interesting statement. And it kind of fired things up even more. And I find, like I said, I find it interesting primarily because I don't see Ukraine as being the golden, the pot of gold that Putin is going after. He may have sights on Europe, but I can tell you one area, and I get this straight from the Bible. That's not the focus. The real focus of Putin's desire to restore Russian dominance and expansion lies further south and east in a little nation that is also fighting for its life. Biblically speaking, the interest lies in Israel. When World War III comes, I believe that will be the center, not Ukraine or any other place in Europe. Now, that World War III will definitely involve them, but one of the descriptions of the army coming down, this whole war in Ukraine, is taking out a lot of Russian weapons and so forth. Their armored divisions and things have been crippled and vast amounts destroyed. And when you look at in the book of Revelation, that army coming down, well, a lot of people question, how could that be in this modern age? And so this might be the explanation for it. But that's my take on all this. I just think that this is all part of Trump's plan. I think he's going to. He has this plan as how he's going to go forward. So let's just sit back and wait. We can't do much else. Sit back and wait. So, have you enjoyed today's topics, today's Christian news and views? Then I encourage you to, right down below here, subscribe to my channel. You get Christian news and views, and you also get becoming a published author is fun. That is a place where you can go and get free information about how to write. You can get free information about setting up your business as a writer. You can get free information about publishing and marketing and things of this nature. I cover just about anything that's on there. And I'm open to anybody who wants to know more about a particular area. If I'm able to do it, I'll be certainly interested in doing it. So you get those. On top of that, when you subscribe, you encourage me. And as a result, I then come back and I encourage you to subscribe. And then I will do all in my power to create episodes that will inform, encourage, and inspire you. That is my promise to you. That is a promise that I make, and I will keep. Well, that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next episode.